Kia ora everyone, very late to the news on this, so consider this more of like a calendar reminder for the exciting year ahead. I wanted to talk about some LEGO movie cars that are releasing in 2026. We already have tons to look forward to, and these sets are all releasing very early as well. I'm talking January and March of next year. 3 Speed Champions releases all based on films, and 3 Batman releases all based on movie Batmobiles. We've talked about these sets in the past when they were originally rumored, and here's hoping that both Speed Champions and DC continue this trend of new movie-based vehicles, something that we've been advocating for here on this channel for years now. I'll start with those Speed Champions ones first, since these all release on January 1st, 2026. This one here was first revealed back in September. This is set 77255 Lightning McQueen based on Pixar's Cars. It's releasing in time for the 20th anniversary. Jesus man, give us a warning next time. The model here contains 270 pieces in total, and it retails for the price of $28 USD before tax. In fact, all 3 of these sets here retail for the exact same price in USD, actually an increase from the current standard price of $27 USD before tax. So I think this might be the 3rd or 4th price increase for a Speed Champions car in the past 5 years or so. For the NZ price though, Lightning McQueen is actually $45 NZD. The others have been increased to $50. More talk on that though as we go, and I know it's a tough pill to swallow. This here is a brick-built model of the main man himself, appearing in a style never before seen in the Pixar Cars sets. I recently covered some Pixar Cars LEGO sets on this channel, and the characters in those sets all feature a smaller design, so hearing about this a few months ago had me so intrigued to see images. I really love this thing overall. I think it's probably the best design for that scale, and it's really fun to see things like a mouth being built into the design of a Speed Champions car, and even having those eyes appearing on a windshield. It also may be the first Speed Champions general release to not include a minifigure, but for that reason I am disappointed to see that Disney tax still has this thing priced as the same as other current Speed Champions releases. A few less pieces here too than say the recently released Too Fast Too Furious cars. These cars that you see on screen here all feature more parts and a minifigure, and they cost the same or even less when we're looking at that amazing GTR Skyline set, which released pre the price increase and is still on shelves today. Lightning McQueen here is also one of the few Speed Champion sets that can actually get away with stickers being used over ideally prints. I have also noticed that these boxes here are indicating 1 to 2 builders, implying that these sets could possibly be built in sections, and I imagine that they would then combine together maybe. Otherwise I'm not too sure how 2 people could build this at the same time. And then also revealed in October and just in time for the anniversary re-release this November, this here is set 77256, the Time Machine from Back to the Future. It's an interesting naming convention there, akin to Jack Sparrow's pirate ship. The set here releases with 357 pieces in total, 2 minifigures this time around, and like I said, it's $28 USD before tax, or it's $50 NZD here. Price conversation aside, I really love this thing too. I think it's pretty much flawless. The only thing that's worth worrying about for this build is that because it is a Speed Champion set, those doors are not opening. We can see an attempt at an outline there, but those are just some wall panels I'm afraid. The windshield being removed is how you're going to have access inside. This thing is very sleek with some amazing key details all around. I can see the flux capacitor inside. I'm going to assume that we have some sort of a stickered print of the time coordinates. There's also a 2-in-1 feature there where it's able to transform into the flying variant with Mr. Fusion at the back. There is clearly a lot of effort that's been put into the set. Marty and Doc minifigures look amazing. No Einstein though unfortunately, but maybe someday we'll get another remake set that finally gives us that trio. Doc might be using a new face print, but otherwise he's looking pretty similar to the Dimensions figure from a few years back. Marty though is using this LEGO Dreams jacket piece, and it's incredible. And it's funny because I was recently considering buying that piece alone to upgrade the Marty figure that I already have. He looks perfect. I think they crushed this thing. Oh man, up close we can see that this is a stickers galore type of release. They're using silver plate stickers on translucent blue bricks, which look really nice, but in the past they have just used silver bricks. It's the first general Speed Champions release to feature 2 minifigures as well, but that price point, $50 is quite high for something of this scale. That price point hasn't actually been reached in a while now though for LEGO sets here in NZ. Our traditional $50 sets actually became $60 to $70 sets in the past couple of years, and so LEGO started releasing smaller sets priced at $45 NZD instead. I'm thinking of sets like the Island Shack release from the One Piece line. Presumably though, we have a high piece count for the set because of the extra parts being used for the other model and for the extra minifigure. You're not able to have both of these models active at the same time though, so really this model won't be using the entire 357 piece count. So here's how I view it, and I promise I don't mean to be defending a billion-dollar company on this though. Most of the things I do on this channel is a retrospective collection of sorts. I cover older sets now long retired, and I look at the prices in the aftermarket space. Now the original Lego Cuso DeLorean has been on my wishlist for years now, despite the build issues that I think that set has. At release that set was about $60 to $70 NZD I think. I was a very poor high school student, so I had to pass on this at release, and I've regretted it ever since, which is why I jumped on buying those Lego Dimensions releases, because at the very least I could have the minifigures. Today in the aftermarket space, if I wanted a minifig scale DeLorean set, I'm looking at between 140 NZD to $260 NZD in the aftermarket space. That build does have more pieces, but it is in my eyes an inferior model, and the minifigures are outdated in their designs. This new one is closer to the same piece count, newer styled minifigures, a more refined build, and it's $50 NZD at a flat rate before a sale. It's about the same price as the original one was at release. In fact, due to inflation, it's cheaper. I can't help but look at this from a retrospective point of view, which is how I tend to view a lot of Lego remakes these days, honestly, so it's very appealing to me, even though I have complained about the high price point of Speed Champions, and I do think it's high, but I think I'll still end up buying this set. And now the most recently revealed one, as in just this past week, Lego are also releasing a set based on the F1 movie, right in time for the awards season. This here is set 77252 APXGP Team Race Car, the Expensify car from the movie. 268 pieces total here, and it's less than the DeLorean, but it does match the other F1 car releases. Importantly, here we have two minifigures of Brad Pitt and Damson Idris's characters, whose names I do not remember, $28 USD before tax and $50 NZD here. It's a high price point, but having both of those characters as minifigures rather than just one of them, huge selling point for me personally. This is exactly what I wanted to see when I saw that movie on the big screen. I even went out and bought a clearance Lego F1 car. It was the one with the Google stickers, because I enjoyed the thrill so much of that movie. This is funny because I would have jumped on this at release, and I do still want it because I love collecting movie-based releases. It's just rather odd timing is what I'm saying. I don't have much to say on the F1 cars in general. I think that once you build one of these things, you've built them all. Collecting all of them just seems to be like a nightmare, and I wish I held off now on that Google car and just bought this one instead, because the one that I bought basically has the exact same color scheme as this set does. I think the figures are really cool, and I expect a lot of customs to be used from those expressions and likenesses. Funny that the fake team gets a car when I know that F1 fans are still waiting very patiently for their preferred driver minifigures. So now we quickly move on to the LEGO DC line, which is giving us 3 brand new Batmobiles, all releasing on March 1st of next year, another rumors based section that I covered some weeks back. These do all appear to be based on the respective movies, which I said would not be the case. I thought for sure that these would be exclusively based on the upcoming video game. They do all feature in-game codes, however, but the actors are appearing on the box art, so I definitely view these more as movie releases than game inclusions. Each of these sets here include just one minifigure of Batman based on the respective movie, and a piece count of around the same or less than the Speed Champion sets that we just looked at. They all also feature the exact same retail price point, $30 USD before tax, higher than the Speed Champions releases. Here in NZ we're set to pay $55 NZD for these, so again, more than the Speed Champions releases. First one here is set 76331 Batman v Superman Batmobile. It's the return of Affleck's Batman in Lego form, which is insane to be seen. The set here contains 220 pieces in total, and just one minifigure of Affleck himself from the film. Yeah, it's a crazy remake. I never thought that we'd be seeing Batman vs Superman Lego sets again in the modern day. It's also a recolored variant, so it looks a lot closer to the prop that they used in the movie. It just looked a lot darker in movie because Snyder shot most of those scenes at night. For those who missed that original one and they have the opportunity of buying this remake one, I think it looks pretty cool. It's definitely the worst valued set of this video though, keep that in mind. The new Batman figure is the most distinct one I think out of the new lineup. You've got a face print there that features some stubble and a shoulder armor piece there to represent the armored look from that film, but the original armored figure actually used a proper armor plate that covered the torso. I think that design looks a lot better there. It really emphasizes that style, but maybe it featured some seating issues that meant the figure couldn't fit in a car or something. I will obviously mention that none of these expressions used on these Batman figures here are exclusive to these guys, so no one here is using a different likeness to those actors. I also personally have never liked the movie Batman figures using the white eyes and the cowl, since none of the movies ever showcase the actors looking like this. Well, actually, except for this one, funnily enough, this one's pretty accurate. The next one here is set 76332. This is the Batman Batmobile from the Matt Reeves film. This one features 330 pieces total, so it's much higher than the BVS one that we just looked at, and it features a new remake of the Pattinson Batman minifig. This is the guy that appears all throughout the trailer for the new video game, so I figured we would be seeing this exact design. It's a decent remake as well that features some minor yellow color additions, and it changes out the cowl piece. I do really like this remake model. I think that it's a much sleeker design compared to the one that we got for the movie back at release. I didn't want to be sold on these though, since I do have a lot of these Batmobiles already, but I've been really swayed on this one. The original set was just way too bulky and it felt pretty oversized compared to this. The biggest downside here though being no Penguin minifigure in addition to Batman. I do think each of these sets needed to have an additional minifigure to even attempt at justifying the price point. Superman or Alfred for the BVS one would have fitted just perfectly. Jim Gordon I think should have been included for this one, and we'll get to the most egregious omission for the next car soon. This car though is cheaper than the original NZD price for the first model at release though. I think I like this remake more than the BVS one. The final car here is set 76333, Batman and Robin Batmobile, which is based on the infamous movie that's actually a really fun time. You guys are just haters. It's the first time that we're seeing the Schumacher George Clooney movie adapted into Lego sets. Thank God finally. I've honestly been waiting a long time for these. 272 pieces in total here, so less than Pattinson's but more than Affleck's. The new suit looks pretty stylish there. It's based on the third act look, but he is using the same headpiece that was previously used on Christian Bale's Batman, Michael Keaton's Batman, Conroy's animated series Batman, Kilmer's Batman, so you see what I mean? None of these have ever felt like movie-based sets to me. Also missing the bat nipples, which I feel like you just needed to include those, and I'm not even kidding when I say that. Now this car design is one of the more uglier ones to me in the movies. The translation is also a little weird here because they can't get all of those dynamics in play with bricks, so they've had to use some stickers there instead. It is the first time seeing the car in Lego though, and it's the first time that George Clooney is getting a minifigure, so if I were to get any of these, this is probably the most likely purchase, just hoping that we see Kilmer's Batman in a cheaper set in the future. Now though, how are you going to be naming this set Batman and Robin Batmobile and not include a Robin minifigure? Feels like a very obvious negative point for the set, and I honestly think deservedly so. I'll round out the Batman news here by just quickly highlighting this ugly thing. It's set 76330, the Batman logo, which features 678 pieces in total, 2 minifigures, one of Batman and one of him in gold. It retails for the price of 80 USD before tax, or 140 NZD. I said I was only interested in this back when I initially covered those rumors, if this was actually going to be celebrating the anniversary featuring classic remake styles from the 2006 sets. It's not, so it's a very easy skip for me. I don't like those greebling details. I think it's very off-putting for its aesthetic, but I do appreciate the thought behind using parts related to Batman and his rogues gallery. I don't like the golden figures either as special releases, but at the same time, I am really happy that LEGO continued these trends of gold figures because it means that it's something that I don't feel pressured into collecting, so for those who do like them, hey, you get to have more of them. It's both good and bad for me. I think that this is a nothing set for me, but maybe those who like the logos and stuff will find this to be appealing. Each of these sets here does also include a coin piece that celebrates the anniversary too, so if you buy one of these cars you are still going to get this piece. I believe they're built into the model or something. They must be placed under the hood of the cars. Alright, that's a lot of cars to talk about here and to cover, but we're finally done. Again, I know that I was late to covering everything here, but these are now just around the corner, so consider this to be a reminder video instead. It's highly likely I buy all 3 of those Speed Champions releases, I'm not gonna lie. I don't love those prices. In fact, that's about 145 NZD on 3 LEGO Speed Champions cars. Yikes, those things used to be like $35 a couple years ago. It's also hard to get sale prices for that line too, but thanks to everyone for watching all of these videos on this channel, I'm in the very privileged position of being able to even consider buying these with funds amassed from these videos. I'm feeling pretty lukewarm on the Batmobiles. I think it's very hard to not compare these to the Speed Champions line. You know, seeing the extra figures here and the higher piece count, but for some reason the lower prices, it's just really confusing. The sets are already pretty high in their prices to begin with. I think if I was to get any of them, the Pattinson and Clooney ones are the likely suspects, but ideally on sale prices. Like, I could probably pay 35 to 40 NZD for these. That seems pretty decent. I should also say, despite the $55 price point, I am really happy that Batmobiles are no longer $100 NZD. That is genuinely a pretty big win for the consumers. I imagine a lot of the younger builders are going to be very excited to actually be able to afford a LEGO Batman set now. But that's enough from me today. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video here, liking and subscribing to the channel does help to support more videos like this one in the future. Ka kite anō, take care, hope to see you all next time.